there. Today we're going to talk about what to wear on a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. I'm going to take you through my wardrobe so you can see what I wore on the trail, and I'll tell you about some things that worked and didn't. And actually one of the most difficult things for me when I was planning my through hike, because I'm not a veteran backpacker, at least I wasn't when I started, one of the most difficult things for me was paring down to a minimalist wardrobe. I just felt like I should be taking more clothes than I did, but I got there and I actually shed a few things along the trail as well, so let me take you through it. My most basic warm weather hiking outfit was these shorts from North Face that I carried the whole hike. One thing I really loved about them is as I was losing weight, I could just pull the drawstring tighter and tighter and tighter so they wouldn't fall off. They dried super fast and were just wonderfully comfortable, so really enjoyed those. But on the top, I had a little bit more difficulty. I started out in a yellow t-shirt that I got for $3 at the Salvation Army thrift store, and that worked out very well for me. It was not cotton, but it felt like cotton. I think it was polyester rayon, something like that. Although the problem I had is the t-shirts tended to get very dirty and stained. So when I was leaving Damascus and I stopped in the outfitter there at Sundog, I picked up this free fly bamboo shirt that was supposed to be one that would dry very quickly. Unfortunately, it didn't, so it tended to get wet and stick to me, and that's not a real comfortable feeling, especially when you're hot and sticky. When I got to take a break in Albany near Great Barrington, I went to Eastern Mountain Sports and I picked up this North Face shirt that is called, what is it, Flash Dry is what they say. And I even talked to the person there to make sure that yes indeed it would dry fast. It didn't, so that was a problem. I wore it for a couple months and then moved on. I ended up wearing two of these different shirts that I picked up at Walmart, and they were really cheap at Walmart. The brand I think is No Boundaries. I don't know if that's a Walmart brand or not. The No Boundaries t-shirt is a polyester spandex, so it's not quite as cottony, but it felt pretty soft and it was pretty comfortable. So, you know, it was really important to me for have a t-shirt that didn't feel like athletic apparel, and it did feel just like comfortable everyday wear. It made a big difference for me in terms of comfort of my hike. So, although I went through, I think, a total of 5 different t-shirts, I had the yellow one, I also had a pink one that's not shown here. It was nice to have that more softer cotton type feel, although unfortunately with those fabrics they tend to stain and get ripped up pretty bad. So I went through more t-shirts than anything else, but they're easy to find and inexpensive, so that was okay. Actually, I should correct myself. These were inexpensive, but the North Face t-shirt and the bamboo t-shirt were not inexpensive. They were both, I think, over $30. Pretty disappointed that they didn't dry. So my recommendation would be just find a cheap and comfortable t-shirt that you like that's not cotton and wear that, and when it starts to get ragged, see if you can pick up another one when you're in town. I did carry this little town dress for a while. I didn't start my hike with it. I didn't want to take the luxury of town clothes. But by the time I got to the Woods Hole Hostel, I was really feeling like I needed something to wear when I did my laundry, and I wanted to feel a little bit prettier, more human when I ran around town. So I negotiated this little dress from the hiker clothing box as part of my work for stay agreement. I asked Neville if I could keep it if I stayed and did work for stay, and she agreed. So it turned out to be a great little dress, very light. Sports bras and underwears were something else that I went through a few iterations of. I carried these ex officio briefs. I started out with 2 pairs thinking I'd wash one and wear one alternating days, but that didn't work out so well. So I pared down to 1 and eventually actually to none. Sports bras, I went through, I think, 3 different ones. The first one I started with, I don't have shown here, but because I need a bra that's got a little bit more support, and I prefer to have a clip in the back because I do have shoulder issues, and some of the just traditional sports bras that you pull over your head can be hard to get on and off if my shoulder is giving me problems. So these bras tended to end up being too big as I lost weight, so I had to keep going down a size. And I also had a little bit of trouble finding a bra that I could wear to swim in. I wanted bras and panties as well, that if I wanted to just jump in a swimming hole that I could without carrying a bathing suit. I did, when I was in Great Barrington, pick up a bathing suit at the thrift store and used it while I was there in the pool and just tossed it back in the hiker box. On a typical hiking day, I would be wearing my shorts and t-shirts, or if it was a little bit cooler, and even on warm days, if it wasn't super hot, I could wear my Columbia leggings. These are long trail leggings that I got from the Columbia outlet. They make something very similar that they sell at retail, but these at the outlet ran me, I think, about $25 to $40, depending if they were on sale or not. They are wonderful, they're very durable, and my only problem was that as I lost weight, I had to replace them, so I think I had 2 or 3 different pairs that I used on the trail, but they stood up to just about everything I could throw at them, almost indestructible and super comfortable, so really happy with those. And then a lighter layer that I would wear either when it was cold as a base layer or when it was incredibly hot, if my t-shirt was soaking wet and stinky, is this Patagonia tank. And I would also wear that as a base layer to sleep in. On my feet, I would wear smart wool socks, and I would definitely have a preference for the ankle socks versus the longer socks. I'd wear 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐸𝐲 sock liners underneath them and then just kind of push those down over the leggings, and so that there was no place for ticks to get in or dirt, that sort of thing. So I got plenty of dirt, but not on my feet as much, unless it was muddy, which it was a lot. So anyway, that's what I wore for socks. And then if it was a little bit cooler, I might start in my fleece. I slept in this fleece a lot, and it turned out to be one of my absolutely most worn pieces of gear because it was so versatile. They say start cold and to, you know, strip down your t-shirt or whatever when you start in the morning when it's cool, but lots of times I would just start with that, then I'd take a break and stick it in my pack, and then I'd have it ready and accessible when I got into camp with things. On colder days, I would layer, and normally I'd have the tank as the base layer, sometimes the t-shirt if I was chilly, but more often than not just the tank. And then this long-sleeved athletic shirt, again from Walmart. It's made by Danskin. It's activewear. And I really appreciated having the hood because in the wind, sometimes you get to the top of a mountain, you come around a ridge and the wind is just whipping on you. And I could pull it up real quick, and it made an incredible difference in terms of how warm I was. So that was a nice feature, and it also had the thumb holes so I could pull it down over my wrist and keep my hands a little bit warmer. I had this smart wool shirt, and I just realized that it's size extra large. I think it must run small because it wasn't really incredibly baggy on me. But this shirt I would wear mainly to sleep in unless it was a very, very cold day, in which case I would layer it under the athletic shirt there. But it was mainly for sleeping. For the rest of my sleeping gear, I got these Climate Right long johns. They're made by Cuddle Duds, and they are very, very lightweight, but deceivingly very, very warm. One thing that was really nice about them was that they were extremely warm when it was cold, and they were cool when it was hot. So I wore these a lot, even though they were long pants, even in the summertime, until it got so hot that I had to sleep in my shorts. But for the most part, I could wear these, the wool shirt or the tank that I showed you, if it was cooler. And a lot of nights it was cold, even though when it's hot during the day, I would sleep in my mittens and my Columbia fleece hat to keep the warmth in, keep my hands warm. And I almost always slept in socks as well. These are farm to feet socks. These did start to get some holes in them towards the end of the hike, and they have a great warranty. When I got home, I sent them back and they sent me a replacement pair. So I really appreciated that they were able to do that for me so I can get many more miles out of my some people call vampire socks because they never see the light of day. They were a little bit looser than just regular wool hiking socks, so they kept my feet very warm even on the coldest nights. One other thing that I slept in a lot, you wouldn't think of a puffy as sleep gear, but this is not something that I would wear out of camp very often unless it was an incredibly cold day. If I started out in the 20s, I might wear it, but normally if it got cold at night, I would put this on over my other sleeping clothes, and it would just help me stay warm, keep the body heat in under my quilt, and keep me very, very cozy. So that's my sleeping attire. I did switch it up, as I said, when it got really, really hot, and wear the tank and the shorts. But generally, I tried to keep my sleeping apparel separate from what I was wearing for hiking so that I would always have something warm and dry when I got into camp. And unfortunately, I hiked in one of the wettest years on record in 2018. And so it was very important, particularly say when I went through the Smokies. Cold, wet, rain, and water has a way of just getting everywhere. So it's important to keep some clothes that are dry so you can change into something. And many people don't realize it, but you can even get hypothermia in the 50s. So having warm clothes to me was very important. I know some ultralight hikers forego the sleep clothes or choose to only hike in one set of clothes, but I didn't want to do that. Just I felt like it was a safety concern and also a comfort concern. One final item that I carried was a ball cap, and I didn't have one with me the whole hike. I started with a different hat, and it got really grungy with all the rain. So it was a while before I was able to pick this one up. Somebody actually gave it to me, and I said, that's perfect. My daughter goes to Fordham right now, so that's where she's working on her master's. And so I wore that, and I wouldn't call it an essential item. I didn't wear it a lot, but some days it was helpful, especially when the sun was real bright, because I didn't carry sunglasses. And some people like to wear these under their rain jacket just to keep the water off them, although I didn't do that because I wanted to not have my hat soaking wet. It was a nice thing to have, a nice little extra, but it's certainly something you could probably live without if you wanted to shed a little bit of weight. So there you have it. That's my backpacking wardrobe for the Appalachian Trail. And if you want to see where I got everything, I'm going to put a link down in the comments to my website where I have a full list of all the gear items that I had and recommendations on where you might be able to purchase some of those things. Also, I wanted to remind you, if you liked this, be sure to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the little bell. The bell actually notifies you whenever I post new videos, which usually come out on Friday afternoons. So thanks again for watching and happy hiking.